Okay. So here is the final piece of work. It's just really a rough draft, people. Rigorous self-honesty, defunk. That's actually interpersonal communication expansion, but it all equals the same thing, and it constantly changes as we move about our space, learning new things. So it's rigorous self-honesty. I got awakening. Usually this is painfully too slow sometimes. Let's see. Can you see this? To the desire to become more intentionally involved with all that constitutes you. Intentionally involved with all that constitutes you. So it's all like your molecules, everything that's spinning around in your space. Anyhow, so that's cool, but what does that mean? You know, how do we know when we're being honest and when we're not being honest? Like, what is that? Well, one of the easier ones is the one up top here. And it says, what does saying this feeling out loud to others look like? Like if you have those thoughts in your head where you're saying, they're going to say this, or they're going to say that, or they'll think this thing about me, or they'll think that thing about me, so that's the reason I'm not going to say it. That's kind of not being as rigorously honest as you probably could be. I mean, it's cool to not want to rock the boat, but I think that a little more boat rocking at present to get through some of these other things might be kind of fun. But then there's all the gut instincts, the third eye feelings, the visions, these feelings or whatever, these intuitive things that pop up in our head too, where we say, what if I don't say this out loud and follow whatever I'm feeling inside? You'll know if it's something you should keep inside because you'll be able to back it up with this is an honest moment that is impersonal, and it's not something that is meant to be hidden or displayed to ante my position on the planet, to get me in alignment with something, control how I'm gonna mastermind the situation with. It's kind of like inception or manipulation, really. You got to be real careful with that stuff. Anyhow, it still boils down to all the words you use. And then there was the interpersonal communication expansion. Every time you learn something new, you expand on that ability to communicate the idea that you've probably mostly always been talking about your whole life. But what we're saying is the more honest you get, the more you're going to bump into those kind of high vibrating places that are going to line you with lots of different experiences, which means you're not going to have all the same patterns anymore. You're not going to be having the same conversations. You'll be creating and designing a completely different experience. So again, it all boils down to communication. The end. What is that? Oh, in the end. And those who can better articulate and behaviorally portray their physicality honestly ultimately stand a greater chance of expanding what it means to engage with one another. I can assure you it's more than just words. So yeah, there's people out there that want to start communicating already without words. And it's kind of hard when there's not a lot of people out there that understand their cells intimately. And that does sound kind of weird because, I mean, how intimately can you know an atom? I don't know. I know that I watch the chemicals change in my body and move around when someone says something that doesn't necessarily comply with something I agree on. But it really just boils down to, does this expand how I'm expressing my experience in order to align me with the next field of awareness. It keeps growing and changing, I know that. But anyway, so that's the first attempt at rigorous self-honesty. I'll work on it. I know it's not a lot, but the more honest you are with all those chemicals changing in each of those moments, it seems like a lot of work because it seems like you're analyzing and chopping apart every single little nuance in every conversation. But after you get through all of the hard stuff of trying to figure out what each molecule is in you and what each molecule is in the people that you're communicating with, it gets easier and easier to interpret lots of different spaces all at the same time. But anyhow, all right, sweet. Well, peace, people.